Okay, we're live. All right. Hey guys. Thank y'all for joining or whoever's going to pop in because I know y'all going to go back and look at the whole video. But we have Robert Ballard from Limitless Lithium is
Hello.
joining us. So we're going to give people a couple seconds to get in here before we get started. So yeah, we want to talk about these batteries because I love them.
Yeah, it's the hot new item,
Right,
which
right.
everyone wants voltage in their stereo systems. They
Oh
want
yeah,
to maintain voltage. They want to be able to demo and play that song as loud as they want to. And
that's true.
although there are a ton of options when it comes to lithium, we offer a battery that is consumer friendly.
Right. All right, let's see. They're coming on in here, Robert. They're coming in. Hey,
All
Jay, I see you. So you're joining from my page, I believe, Jay. I'm broadcasting to three pages. So it's no telling where questions are going to come from.
right. Yeah, I'll try my best to answer any of them
All right.
that
Well,
I can see pop
if
up.
okay, if something pops up on my side, I'll ask you.
All right.
Hey, Joey, you guys come on in here. We're trying to give y'all a few minutes to get in because I know it's late. We always do them at 8 o'clock. Podcast at 8 o'clock. Give everybody time to feed their children and everything and get them in the bed. So these batteries, man, I tell you, I can't wait. Mm.
All right.
Okay, all right. I guess we can start a little bit. All right. So Robert, tell me about how Limitless Lithium came to be. Can you tell us that?
So basically, um, the owners, Chris and Matt, they both have loved car audio just as long as I have. I've known Matt for years, so um, whenever they came together with this idea to make something that would be able to support, uh, power wattage in the vehicle, a couple ideas come across the board, and They they decided with what they had tested and saw was a good product or a good battery, was a good potential for a company. And
Okay.
more or less, 2016, 2017, everybody's running 5 or 6 AGM batteries, a tremendous amount of weight in their vehicles. You
Mm-hmm.
can basically remove all of that weight, all of that storage, and replace it with, a 28 or a 30-pound battery to support X amount of power,
Right.
So
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how long has Limitless been, out on the market and stuff?
2016, 2017 was when they debuted.
Oh,
Um, so at least 5 or 6 years, and
oh,
of course there's other brands, that are branching out into lithium in
okay.
general. But we try and push it, push the envelope to the next big thing. So we've
Right.
branched out. We have power sports batteries for the motorcycles and the side by sides now,
Okay.
as well as maintaining car audio batteries and stuff for everyday drivers.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Um,
about to ask you that about the what other products do you guys offer besides the limitless batteries, the lithium batteries?
Yeah, so right now, generally with the older batteries, the 15s, the 25s, the 45s, they were all in handmade, acrylic cases, specific for mounting in the rear of the vehicle. Same thing as like the Cyber 12K and the Cyber 6K, those were made to mount inside the vehicle. They're not sealed batteries to be able to maintain the elements. So,
Okay.
We decided with a lot of people, asking us for an underhood option or something that they can use, um, that would be acceptable in the elements, under the bed of a truck or something like
Right.
that. So
Hmm.
with a lot of testing and a lot of trial and error, I'll give you that one.
Right.
The Retro Pro 56
Okay. So that's the
and then the
retro
Retro Pro
56.
30. Yeah, that's the Retro 56 right there. It's
Okay.
in a group case similar to a Group 34 battery. It
Okay. So
has a
it's like an
thermal
ATM.
paste inside of it. Yeah, it's
Okay.
the same casing as an AGM. It
Okay.
has the top post adapters if you want to, or you can do a distribution block in a lug style or a set screw style that will bolt to the top of the battery and you can mount more wires.
Okay.
But what makes this battery special is on the inside there's a thermal paste that will protect the battery and the internal components from the temperatures of being placed under hood.
Okay.
So we've done testing with it, and out of 400 units that we've sold, so far I've had zero defects.
Okay.
So um, other than just minor things that could happen,
Okay.
um, due to being pulled down to a low state of charge or something like that, which we'll cover all that stuff
Okay.
in another podcast like we talked.
Okay. Okay.
But the other one is the Retro 30.
The retro 30. Okay. Now what is that for?
This, so this is the underhood safe lithium. It's a 30 amp hour LiFePO 4. It'll support roughly 7,500 watts. It is very small. I don't know if you can tell,
Yeah, we can tell by your hands. Okay, that's an underhood
but
battery.
that yeah, it's a little battery. It's very similar to the same size as our Nano HD battery, which is the
Okay.
under seat replacement for the Harley Davidson.
Okay, so now let me ask you back to that 30 amp hour, the small one that you just showed. Now, can you link
Mhm.
that with one of the bigger batteries or no?
Yes, yes, it will work with Cyber 12K in the rear if you have one, or any of the older batteries, any LifePro 4 chemistry battery that
Mhm.
rests at 1333, that battery will link with it, and you can delete your underhood battery and
Okay.
replace it with this battery.
Okay.
And essentially, you will run a lithium only setup, and you wouldn't need to use a battery isolator.
Okay. So now you can run can you run another type of AGM with those batteries, or that's not you shouldn't do that.
It's really based off of how much power you're trying to support. If you have a 10,000 or a 12,000 watt amplifier, most of those amplifiers are going to consume more amperage than a battery isolator will be able to flow.
Okay.
So it's really based off of how much power consumption you're going to have in the rear. Um, so basically, if you pair an AGM that rests at 12.5 with a lithium that rests at 13.33, the
Hmm.
lithium is going to be pulled to a low state of charge. Every
Okay.
time that vehicle turns off, essentially the front battery becomes a parasitic draw to the
Okay.
lithium.
Okay. Okay. Now we have a question here. Somebody said, well, Jay is asking what sizes of the amp hours do you make per battery? Or is it
Okay, so that's a very good question. And it basically tells on itself. The Retro Pro 56 is a 56 amp hour LiFePO 4. Same thing with the Retro Pro 30, and that's a 30 amp hour LiFePO 4. Now, the Cyber 12K V2 that I'm fixing to get into here in just a few minutes,
okay?
that's our new LiFePO 4 that's in the same casing as the original Cyber 12K, but it has a revised cell pack that is now a 45 amp hour over the traditional 38 amp hour that it was. And
Okay.
it all matters on the cells that are used as well. because if you use a 20 amp hour cell and you build it in a 4S 2P configuration, you'll have a 38 amp hour life per 4.
Okay.
Whereas the Retro Pro 56 is built in a 4S 4P configuration, and it uses the 14 amp hour pouch style cells, and it's a
Hmm.
much stronger battery. In
Okay.
my testing, that battery there, it maintained around 900 amps on a burst and a continuous 600 amps of draw.
Okay.
So I mean, we do a lot of strenuous testing. A lot of R&D goes into our products. I mean,
Hmm.
this is a lot of money we're talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
it boils down to getting a product that will perform like you want it to,
Hmm.
and it comes with a backed 3-year manufacturer defect warranty.
Okay. So the other Cyber 12K, you said you guys revised it. You said a V2 or something. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. If you'd like to see that, I will show it to you right
Yeah. Let's
here.
do that. That's what my baby looks like.
So we
Purdy.
offer this battery right here with a lug style option, bolt
Hmm.
down lug style. Comes in the 10 spot, so you mount 10 wires on top of this thing.
Okay.
Or you have the input set screw style, where you trim your wire back and input it into the bus bar, and you've got a 12 spot on this one.
Okay.
So the Cyber 12K V2, it's very similar to the original one, just more storage capacity. Same aluminum anodized case with the heat sinks.
Okay.
Same exact size.
So
So
okay.
someone that's running a traditional Cyber 12K can link one of these with their Cyber 12K, and it looks identical.
Okay. So that you won't have a problem linking them together.
No, no problem at all. They work together and will work and rest at the same voltage.
Okay. Okay. Now somebody had a question. Said that he has four Cyber 12Ks. Let me see what's his name here. Let me look up. Charles Roach. He says he has four Cyber 12K batteries and he wants to link them together. Does
Okay.
he have to use multiple runs between each of them or just a single wire to link them?
It would be best to at least use two jumper wires. I try and tell everybody when they're running their power wires and ground wires, you always want to feed from the source. So from the alternator to the lithium battery, power and ground, and then
Hmm.
in between the batteries, you want to run some jumper wires. Now it depends. If you're running 2 aught, you can get by with one, but it is best to, double up because, whenever we're running our amplifiers and stuff, whether it be a 1 ohm or a half ohm or whatever, no
Hmm.
matter what, we want to be able to flow enough current to that said equipment.
Okay.
So, if you have the capability to run, double jumper wires from the batteries to each other, and then from your amplifiers down to the batteries, powers, and grounds, that would be the best bet.
Okay. You're welcome, Charles. Any more questions, real fast, about these batteries right here before we move forward?
I have a quick question. I know I'm popping in and out. So let's just say hypothetically, I was running one of your older limitless batteries.
Mhm.
Are they compatible to wire together with like a Cyber 6K or a 12K?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, this the life Pro 4 chemistry battery. If we had a Gorilla battery like a G10 or G30, that's a LTO, a lithium titanate oxide. That battery has a resting voltage of 14.64, and it will damage a life before if it's connected to it. So of course we don't want to connect a G10 with a a life before like a old 40 or a 25 or a 15 because it would damage
Okay.
it. But if it's a like the first generation, the A123 Ultra cells that were built in 2016 up to like 2018, those batteries right there are a life Pro 4 chemistry, and they will work with any of the new batteries that we offer.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, and my other question it would be is, um, what recommendations would you have for like somebody like myself? Like I told you before, I was running the Cyber 6K before. but I still wanted to keep that factory battery in there. And I noticed you said, the factory battery and the lead acid batteries, they rest at different voltages. What recommendations would you have for
Yeah.
somebody that was in that predicament to where they won't
And
damage their lithium?
how much power was you trying to cover with that setup?
Well, it was able to cover like 6K, which is what I needed it to do. But I also wanted to
Okay.
keep the factory battery in there because I didn't want to mess with that.
Okay.
Didn't feel like doing a battery delete and so forth. But I also,
Yeah, yeah.
didn't want to
Which
damage the lithium.
yeah, and that's totally understandable. And any time that it's a small enough setup that you, let's say, anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 watts, depending on how you wire it. I can't sit here and say that if you wire a Salt 6K up to a Cyber 6K, that it's going to hold it because that amplifier can produce more power than 6,000 watts. We know that. So um, basically, you want to make sure that you have enough to support that. But if the amperage demand is higher than what an isolator can flow, you need to look into lithium only or run a separate charging system. If you have the ability to run a separate alternator, you can use the lithium on one alternator and then your factory setup on the other alternator, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
most definitely.
that can be very expensive, and not a lot of people have the know-how to be able to do that.
Right.
So if you want to pair lithium with an AGM or even a lead acid, which I don't suggest to do, it will work. But like Mona sees, the lead acid, it don't subject to high amperage demands, and they start to bubble.
Yeah, mine
But
both up.
so
Yeah, we won't do
when you
that.
want, yeah, no, we're gonna get you fixed up with something under the hood. We're gonna take care of that. But when it comes down to pairing a lithium and an AGM, you always want to use a battery isolator.
Isolate.
Whether it be an NVX or a Stinger, Pack makes one. We actually had done some testing on a couple of isolators, like a 500 amp isolator and a 250 amp isolator. But it makes no sense to run any type of isolator if you can do a lithium only setup because the isolator will only flow a continuous 500 amps. And you know as well as I do, sometimes our amplifiers, if we pull a certain bass frequency or pull a certain amount of amperage, it might be more than 500 amps. So um, if you can, it's best to separate it at all costs. But to pair it with an AGM, you definitely want to use an isolator because the differences in the resting voltages, it's going to unnecessarily cycle your lithium battery while the vehicle's off, and it takes away from your lifespan. It takes away from everything.
Okay. All right. Now I got another question. Now, do you sell like the separate cells or whatever those little things are, the little round things?
The supercapacitors.
I don't know what you see everybody putting them together and everything.
Okay, so those are DIY batteries. Headway
Oh,
cells,
okay. We talking about
CMAX
those
cells,
today.
and stuff like that.
Okay.
We had talked about something like that, but I mean, when you assemble a battery, whether it be laser welded together, bolted together, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Wearing your ring or something like that, you get caught in between that thing, you lose a finger.
Yeah.
So I mean, um, the only thing that we offer in individuals is the super caps. You can build
That's
a
it.
bank of six with those.
Oh,
That's
that's
basically the only thing we offer that you can assemble yourself.
what I was
Um,
talking about. The super caps.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we offer it in a super cap battery delete. We
Mm-hmm.
offer it in a bank of six, and then we offer individuals. If you
Oh,
have a bad super capacitor in your bank of six and you only need one, we can definitely hook you up. And I have no problem talking to people on the phone and running them through how to hook that thing up properly and how to properly charge it up.
okay. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to explain to everybody what I did and I messed up so nobody else won't do the same thing that I did. Now I had a regular, what is it? The regular battery under my hood, even though I have a battery delete that I don't even use it. But I messed up because my Teramps amp drained all of my batteries out, guys. And that's my fault. But I hooked up my battery under the hood and I forgot that I had it hooked up and it had my front battery smelling like eggs. So do not do that, especially if you have a lithium battery hooked up. I have two lithium in the rear and I messed up and I could just smell this eggs, just eggs. And I was like, what is that smell?
Ew.
And I looked under there and I knew that I know it's not supposed to be hooked up. I was just supposed to put it on and take it off, but I left it and my battery started bubbling and it was stinking and it was everything. So don't make the same mistake that I did.
Don't do what I did either. Don't try to pull 12,000 watts out of
I
the Cyber 6 count and stock alternator.
wait, you did what?
It
Like I
doesn't
said,
work
it's
out too
only
well.
19 horsepower.
Wow.
It doesn't work too well.
So now
No, I
so
didn't
you
damage the battery, but I was dropping down to 9 volts while playing. So yeah, that's not good at all.
Oh wow. Yep, yep. And that's
now
another thing I was going to mention too. I'm sorry, Mona,
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it is very important for any lithium battery. It doesn't matter if it's a LiFePO 4, lithium, limitless battery, headway battery, CMAX,
Hmm.
whatever. But direct grounds from the alternator back to your lithium is crucial.
Hmm.
It
So I have a
will
question
Hmm.
perform better. What's up?
about that. So when I first got the cardio back in early 2003, 2004, right?
Mhm.
The saying was the shorter the ground, the better. Is
The
that
better.
not
Yeah.
accurate?
Well,
Is that not
it's
accurate when it
not.
comes to lithiums?
No,
Is that
then that you just yeah, it has changed a lot over the years. You know,
hmm
AGMs traditionally we'd do the big three under the hood, and in the rear we'd run a ground down to the frame and run a power from the front battery back, and we was
right?
good to go.
Okay.
But today with the discharge and recharge rates of these lithium batteries, they the frame and the subframes and the pinch welds and stuff like that just will not flow the amount of current that lithium is going to want or desire. So
Okay.
it is crucial. It is crucial. I tell everybody when they call me on the phone every day asking me how to hook this thing up or what do they need to do because they're dropping so low. And I ask them that very first question is, do you have your direct grounds from your alternator back? And he said, what are you talking about? So,
So
and you
so
think of it like this: one single run of OFC copper wire will flow more current than a 3 inch thick frame. You know as well as I do, our frames are not 3 inches thick, so
right.
that wire is going to be very crucial to the performance increase that you want.
Okay. So what you're saying is you have to run from the alternator back to the battery.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, power
So
and ground.
when you
Power
say the
down.
negative from the alternator, mounting it to the alternator bracket, that's
Exactly.
okay.
Alternator bracket, a bolt
Right.
near the alternator. Some of those high output Mechman alternators and even the brand X electrical alternators have an external ground stud. You can use that. But from the source is where you want to feed your power and ground wires for your lithium batteries.
Cool. Just wanted
Okay.
to make sure because that's how I have mine done. But
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay. Now I
Yeah.
have
And then
another
another
question.
thing too,
Oh,
in your
yeah.
situation, with pulling so much amperage, if you had one power and one ground, you might would see an increase on the performance running a double power and ground. Always want to match
See,
everything up.
I was gonna do that. There was two problems. One, I ran out of that roll of wire that I bought from you guys doing a single run. Second
Yep.
is them Chrysler 300s have no holes in the firewall, and it is a
Oh
pain. Man, listen, when I finally found a hole to run it through, right?
yeah.
I ran it through. I couldn't get the rubber boot back on, so I was like, you know what? The hole's high enough. I'll be fine. Tell me why.
Yep.
About a week later, when it rained for 3 days straight, I had a flood in the bottom of my car.
Well,
So yes.
we offer a ton of products on the website limitlesslithium.com.
Mm-hmm.
Waterproof grommets and stuff like that as well. You
Yeah.
drill your hole, you mount your waterproof grommet, you run your wire through it, and then tighten it down, and it seals it off. So, get
Oh,
with me on stuff like that, and I can get you taken care of for sure.
oh, so you guys sell that stuff too? You sell the
Yeah.
grind with the stuff you can put around it and all that stuff.
Yep. Yep,
Oh,
Sky High Car Audio products, B2 Audio products,
okay.
Sound Cube products. We offer a plethora of car
Oh,
audio products. And that was
oh,
another thing I was going to
You
talk to you about
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Robert.
is is the wire. He was mentioning the OFC wire that we offer. Um, we have a setup with Sky High. We have branded their wire in a silver tin. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and pull it
Yeah.
up, but it's 5,300 strands,
Okay.
I've
and
got it and I
it's
love it.
silver tin coating. It's very
Okay.
flexible. It's great
I
wire,
see. Okay.
But we also now offer shrinks, fuse blocks,
Oh, wow.
and everything you need to be able to connect your stereo systems.
All right. How many amps is that?
This this uh This one right here is a 250 amp fuse, but all the Sky High Car Audio fuses
Boss.
up to 500 amps, we offer all of them. But this one right here is
Okay.
a set screw style that has a an Allen head keyway. You just trim your wire back and insert it in the hole, and
Okay.
then bolt your fuse and stuff up.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay.
So that's something that we offer on the website. We have an 8 gauge, 4 gauge, and 1/0 silver
Okay.
tinned OFC, and we also offer CCA wire, but it is
CCA.
branded Limitless Lithium.
Okay. Okay. Now we got a question from Charles Roach again. He's saying, where in the setup would the super caps be set at? Would they be between the amp and the lithium, or how do you set that? How would you set something like that up?
So the super caps, it doesn't matter where you mount them. If it's just a bank of six, you can mount that before the lithium or after the lithium. It's totally up to you. More or less, it depends on how many wires you're going to run to your amplifiers. Because if you run to the super cap and from the super cap up to the amplifiers, and you have more than 3 or 4 wires,
Mm-hmm.
it can be challenging to get that many stacked up on the lug. So I would probably run from the alternator into the super caps and then into the lithium. Now, if it's
Okay.
a
All
super
right.
cap battery delete, that is designed to work under hood and work
Okay.
with any kind of lithium that's mounted in the rear, whether it be a LiFePO 4 chemistry or LTO chemistry. Because it
Mm-hmm.
built in a 6S configuration, that battery will work all the way up to 16.1 volts. And I say battery, but that delete, the supercap battery delete, will work all the way up to 16.1 volts.
Okay. So now limitless batteries, there's no limit. Is there a limit for them, like as far as voltage wise?
For the LiFePO 4 chemistry batteries, the factory charging, as we call them,
Mm-hmm.
14.84 is where you want to be as far as max input voltage. Now,
Okay.
I have this question every day. Colder climate areas, sometimes voltage will sit at 15.1 or 15.2 for a few
Mm-hmm.
moments and then
Mm-hmm.
trickle back down to 14.6 or 14.8, whatever it normally charges at. And that's fine. That's acceptable. But we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to continuously charge at 15 or 15.5 or anything like that because that will put unnecessary strains on your battery packs, and they will eventually fail because
Right.
that's overloading the battery basically.
Right. Okay.
Now,
Yeah. We don't. Go ahead, Adrian.
now I was gonna say I've had this question asked before back when I was running my Cyber 6K, and like I said, I eventually upped my power needs. So I switched over to headway cells.
Mhm.
Adrian,
Um,
you're crazy.
can you hear me now?
It's crackly.
All right, I'll try when I get better service. I'm sorry, guys. I'm driving home.
Okay. All right. Well, while he's driving, I have a question about the motorcycles now. So tell us.
Ooh.
No.
No, no, no. I got something for you. Go ahead.
Okay. Talk to us about these motorcycle batteries. Let us know. Give us
Okay.
some input. Let us know what you got for, because a lot of people are putting a lot of speakers and stuff on these baggers and whatever you call them, the Harleys and
Yep.
everything. So
Yep.
explain to us about the motorcycle limitless batteries.
Okay. So I'm sure a bunch of you guys already know about the Nano HD. We've had it out for at least a year or two now, and it's it's dominated the motorcycle scene for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It has a what we call a BMS, a battery management system that is built inside of the battery. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing about a BMS, and that's what I was going to kind of you know differentiate, whatever you call it. The
Mm-hmm.
battery for car audio do not have a BMS inside of them because
A big What's a
limits.
mess?
A BMS is a battery management system. A BMS protects for high voltage, low voltage, short circuit, and thermal built into that unit. And the way that BMS works, it connects through the negative side of the battery pack. So the
Uh-oh.
battery pack
Are we losing you?
has,
Hello?
can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, Robert, you're good on mine. I think mine
All
was
right, guys. Oh,
acting
we're
up.
back. I'm sorry. We
Hey.
fell out for a second, guys. Okay.
Can you hear me
Again.
now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Say
All
that
right.
again, Rob.
So, so a BMS, a battery management system, will mount on the negative feed of the battery pack, and the negative host will flow through the BMS. So for car audio, with a let's say a customer has a 300 amp alternator, or they have dual 300 amp alternators. Let's just say that's the case. A
Mm-hmm.
BMS will only allow 100 amps to 130 amps of input charge. So,
Okay.
it will not work for car audio because it limits how much amperage can be flown into the battery and out of the battery. So, all of our
Okay.
car audio batteries, they have a balance board inside of them, but they do not have a BMS. But for motorcycles, it is crucial to have a BMS inside of that battery because the bike
Okay.
sits for extended periods of time. Unhooked, the BMS will protect the cells from being pulled down to a low state of charge or even killed, because it
Okay.
senses that low voltage and it shuts off.
Okay. Now, are the what do you call them? The nano HD batteries. Those are the motorcycle batteries, correct?
Yeah, yeah. The Nano HD is a factory replacement for a ton of motorcycles. It fits in a lot of the Harley bagger bikes, um, and
Mm-hmm.
and, and it it will support around 5,000 watts of power and the motorcycle.
5,000.
Whether that be
Okay.
2,500 watts base and 3,000 watts vocal, whatever. We rate the batteries off of around 5,000 watts because it's a 28 amp hour LiFePro 4 that will work
Okay.
with the factory charging of the motorcycle.
Okay. All right. So, but now I got a question now about this. How do you set it in the same place where the battery is located? Because the ones that we have all the space, it's clear and everywhere.
Yep.
Where would you put the battery on a bike?
So
Does it
that underneath the seat in those bagger bikes, the battery fits under the seat in the factory location. It slides down in on its backside, and you can mount the wires on the front side. We also offer a terminal adapter for those batteries to where you
oh,
could mount additional wires.
okay? So on the side or on the top, back. So you
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it mounts on the top. So, like, if you slide the battery down into the tray under the seat, the
Hmm.
wires will be facing forward. You mount all your factory wires up, and then if you have the terminal adapters and need to mount more wires, they're mounted right above on the top of the battery.
Okay, for more space and everything. Okay,
Yeah,
for more wires,
yeah.
I guess. Okay.
Now, yeah, if you have more batteries than just one, like the Limitless Bagger bike has 5 or 6 batteries in it, and it has to have wires ran from the front, the under seat battery to the rear batteries that are on the drop rail kit underneath the back.
Okay. Okay. Now, what other products do you guys sell? I know batteries is your thing.
Yeah,
Batteries, but what other type of batteries? Now, say for instance, somebody had a boat.
yeah. We're working on a marine battery, but before we get into that, let me debut
Okay.
this little guy right here.
Yeah. Let's see.
This is our new Victory motorcycle battery. The Nano HD is too big to fit in the factory location of the Gold Wings and of the Victories. So we had a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of guys that wanted to run our product, wanted to run our battery. They have our batteries in their tour packs, but they didn't have a factory replacement. We now have a option for you guys. This is the Nano HD SL.
Awesome. Okay. SL. Okay. And what bike are these for? Which model
This is
bikes?
for the Gold Wings.
Okay. The gold
This is
wings.
for the
Okay.
Gold Wings and for the Victory.
Okay. That's like the grandpa bikes, right? Are those
Well,
like
believe it or
the
not,
grand?
some of those Victory motorcycles are killing it.
Okay. Now, can you run those in also in what is that thing? The slingshots and stuff like that?
Yeah, but that depends on the alternator. If it's a factory alternator that only does 70 or 80 amps, that's
Mm-hmm.
acceptable. If it is an upgraded alternator, you need to run something that will accept the input charge from that alternator. So like a Retro 30 or a
Mm-hmm.
Retro 56. A lot of the guys are running those in the slingshots to be able to power their audio and the vehicle itself.
Okay. 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 Let's.
But
What type of audio plug? Somebody said they need an audio plug. I don't know what that is, but
Sounds like somebody wants something for cheap.
probably get down.
Can y'all hear me pretty well right now?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead and ask your
All right.
question. You're gonna be crackling up, popping popcorn.
So, how would you compare your like new lithium batteries to like the headway cell banks?
to like the headway style batteries,
Yes.
that's a good question. Because I mean, we have done prototype testing with some of the headway cells. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and everything has a difference. A
Yeah.
headway cell, I don't know as far as the discharge ratings on those batteries, but when we
Right.
do our testing, we base everything off of a 10C discharge. Whether it does more than that or less than that, that's to be determined. So let's just say
Right.
the battery is a 30 amp hour. I would assume that battery would do 300 amps down to 12 volts from 13.3 volts. So it drops 1.3 volts and is supposed to maintain 300 amps. So in our testing, like I said, based off 10C, sometimes they're stronger. The Retro 30 is stronger. The Retro 56 is stronger. If I was to guess, the Retro 56 is a 12 or 15C discharge battery, whereas the Retro 30 is a 12 or a 13C discharge battery. And some of the
You got
older batteries were a
mm-hmm. Go
10C
ahead.
discharge.
Okay. Now, what is? Now you're talking about discharge rate. Now, how is the discharge stuff on the limitless, the 12K? How's that work?
The 12K.
Yeah, the Cyber 12K.
So as far as the battery itself, we do our testing. We charge them up, and then we have 1,000 amp carbon load tester. Everything's pulled down to 12 volts to get a rolling average of how much amperage the battery will support.
Mm-hmm.
We factor in an alternator will most of the time be feeding the battery, so that will add some power to the setup.
Mm-hmm.
So, say for instance, the Cyber 12K is a 38 amp hour. In my testing, that battery pack would do in excess of 450 amps when it would only when I was only expecting to see 380. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
So, um,
I understand. Now,
but
go ahead.
that's standalone battery power only. When you
Okay,
factor in an alternator in behind it, you have a lot more power because it's receiving that input charge and it's able to disperse that as well.
okay. Adrian, you got some more questions?
Not at the current moment. I mean, I'm just listening in, getting some information. Um,
Yeah,
like I said,
this is
I
some
was
great
running. I was
information.
running. I started off with my first lithium being a limitless Cyber 6K. Um, not knowing this knowledge that I have now, I went over to jumped over to headway cells and I built a headway bank. But now seeing that they
Yeah,
have a lot more power options that will handle what I would need, then like I said, I'm open to trying try anything. It's
yeah,
definitely a lot of people fail to realize in car audio is definitely a trial and error ordeal. Um, you can't think that your first thing you throw together is going to be top notch.
yeah,
It takes time, trial and error, putting things together. You know, and some people. One thing I try to stress to a lot of people in car audio, whether it's street battle, SPO, everything, you can't look at somebody else's build and expect the same results.
yeah. Because everything's
Um,
going to be different. You wired at a half ohm, but he's at one.
Hmm.
And that makes a big difference.
Right. Exactly.
I'm still
Exactly.
here, guys. I'm still here. I'm just stepping out of the vehicle real quick, but I'm still here.
Okay, you go ahead. I can talk to Robert.
Sorry, Robert. I haven't been too much of a great co-host. Sometimes I get stuck working late nights and have to close the store, so I do apologize.
Okay, go do your thing.
No, it's no problem, man.
Okay, Robert, tell us about some more batteries. What other kind of batteries do you guys offer?
So the Gorilla batteries is a good thing to start talking about. That is our high voltage line. Um, right now, Sky High Car Audio is maintaining the high voltage line for us.
Okay.
Um, the G50s and the G80s you can purchase at skyhighcaraudio.com.
Mm-hmm.
Those batteries are great for people that want to run a higher voltage and maintain a higher voltage
Mm-hmm.
while they're demoing. But what we need to understand is that battery has a resting voltage of 14.6. So
Right.
if we charge it at 14.8 or 14.9, it's not really doing much for the battery itself. So
Okay.
any LTO battery, like a Gorilla battery, they need to be charged around 15.5 to 16.1
Mm-hmm.
to see the potential of the battery. But believe it or not, our Gorilla G50 was built off of the same platform and the same discharge capabilities of a C-Max 90 amp hour.
Okay. Okay. So now I have another question. Explain to us how the your limitless chargers work. I know it's a lot of people, they don't know about the lithium batteries. So can you explain to us of how your charger works and how you need to charge your batteries? Because I know it's a lot of people that
Yeah,
have issues with, the charging of the batteries and stuff like that.
got you. And it The battery will need some sort of maintenance over the period of its lifespan. Um, and that all depends on how much you use the vehicle. Um, Whether or not it's a daily driver or if it's a show vehicle that sits, we have a ton of options for charging. And we also now offer that nano tender, which is a maintainer. Now these battery chargers that I'm talking about right now are built for the LiFePO4 chemistry batteries,
Mm-hmm.
not the Gorilla batteries. The Gorilla battery has a specific LTO charger that it
Okay.
needs to be used on.
Okay. So
So
the Life Pro battery has its own charger also.
yes, yes. The LiFePO4 we have an 8 amp 12-volt charger, and then we offer a 25 amp 12-volt charger, and then we also offer the Nano Tender. The Nano Tender is made for the Nano Harley Davidson battery,
Okay.
but it will maintain any LiFePO4 battery that it took to. So if a
Okay.
customer has a vehicle that sits for extended periods of time, like a week or two or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
that little nano charger can stay plugged up to your vehicle and it will maintain those batteries. So if
Mm-hmm.
any kind of small parasitic draw pulls it to a low state of charge, it
Mm-hmm.
will bring it back up to 100% and then shut back off.
Okay, yeah, because
Now,
I have an issue with the draw from my amps. They
yeah,
do draw my battery, and I have to keep the limitless charger on my Cyber 12K because I don't want to go out there and it's I can't play my radio or whatever.
yeah,
Now, can you play? Can you? Let me see. Maybe I don't know how to put this question, but I see a lot of people playing with their cars off.
yeah.
I mean, can we do that, or we don't have enough juice?
That's exactly it. You need enough juice to be able to do so.
Okay.
So if you have a 15 amp hour, a little small battery, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't suggest sitting there playing your 2500 watt amp for
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes in the parking lot at Walmart. Your battery's going to get low. But
Okay.
if you have like in your case, a couple of batteries, or two Cyber 12Ks or something like that, I wouldn't say sit there and play for an hour with the vehicle off, but you could
Okay.
definitely play for a few minutes. I would just say don't let the batteries get below 13 volts.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
I,
as
yeah.
far as as far as like a resting voltage. You know,
Okay.
so but ultimately it's best to start your vehicle. That way the batteries are receiving an input charge from the alternator, and it has some juice to be able to maintain its voltage.
Okay. All right. Now I have a question from Terry Brox, the Trump King. Okay. He's asking, what's the best lithium bank that you have for SPL burps at 12?
So something that would hold a tremendous amount of amperage for a burp, it's going to take a lot of storage capacity.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a battery that will be coming out. We've been working on the prototypes. There are a few of them out there. It's called the Moab. It's the mother of all batteries. That's a 180 amp hour LiFePO 4.
Uh-huh.
That battery is going to be rated at around 25 to 30,000 watts.
Wow. And what is it called?
It's called the Moab.
Spell that.
MOAB.
Moad. Okay. I haven't seen one of those.
Yeah, the guy that makes our machine parts, Jimmy,
Mm-hmm.
he's running those batteries in the back of his truck right now. The testing has been phenomenal,
Okay.
and we're going to continue production on those in 2023.
Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. That's a good thing to know, though. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of leaked information.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We've already had the prototypes out there for a little while, and Chris has already talked about it before. So, but it's something that we're going to pursue and continue to try and build.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
that
you
would
guys,
probably be your best bet, Terry,
o-
or stacking up a couple of retro 56s.
okay. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to see if we got any more questions. Anybody got, okay. He said something compact. So do you have a compact battery, a small battery, or whatever?
Well, I
Some,
guess also it would depend on the amount of amperage that would be consumed as well. you
okay.
know. So let's just say if it's 600 amps, one of the Retro 56s would work for a 600 amp hit. But
Okay.
if it's an amperage draw of 1200 amps or more,
Mm-hmm.
then you would definitely need a couple of batteries stacked up. And right now, the smallest battery that we do offer is that Retro Pro 30.
The Retro Pro 30. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so small and compact Retro Pro 30, two of those would support, roughly around 14 to 15,000 watts.
Okay. Because we know that we have a lot of, you know, SPL people that are going to more sound quality, like me. I went
Mhm.
from SPL to sound quality. So even though I know you said that, you know, that 180 amp hour, the MOAD is for burps, is that for that's high voltage?
That's No, it's a LiPo 4, and it wouldn't necessarily only be for burps. That battery would work for demo purposes and stuff like that. It's just a tremendous amount of storage capacity,
Mhm.
being that it's 180 amp hours.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, I have a question from Dorian. Dorian Dickerson. What's the equivalent of a 100 amp hour proto bank that Limitless offers?
Okay, so the older style batteries, like the 15, the 25, the 45, the 70, and the 100, all use the cylindrical style cell. It's a A123 style cell. The
Hmm.
discharge rates are a little bit different than the newer style batteries. So, um, you know, amp hour to amp hour, you can run two Cyber 12Ks and they would support around the same amount of power that a 100 amp hour would support. Or you could do a Retro 56 and a Retro 30, being that that's 86 amp hours, it would support more than what that 100 amp hour would support before.
Okay. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So, is there anything else you want to share with us about lithium, about Limitless?
At the moment, right now, we're kind of tapped out. I've got some new things that I want to release later on. Um, and then like I said, if we want to schedule another time, we can talk about lithium do's and don'ts.
That's fine. We can do that lithium, that Limitless 101. We can do that. We'll set it up for another day.
I
But
I definitely think the audio community would be beneficial to
yeah,
a good old do's and don'ts because I don't
yeah.
want to see too many more fires at these shows.
Yeah, well, things happen, and it's not necessarily the battery or the component that you use. It's user error. A lot of it is
Yeah,
user
yeah,
error.
or not just simply not knowing. I
Right.
mean, a lot of people don't understand that you can't jumpstart a lithium battery. Or that um, it needs to be brought up slowly
Mm-hmm.
if it's at a low state of charge.
Right.
So I
Now,
mean, there's a lot that goes into it. It is different, and it's all new. But for the car audio community,
Mm-hmm.
um, we need to be able to come together and set the differences aside because yes, C-Max can be a great battery.
Mm-hmm.
Headway, as Adrian says, can be a great battery. It's all in
Mm-hmm.
how they're built, how they're balanced.
Yeah.
Um, So a lot of stuff is factored into it, but at the end of the day, we all have one love. It's car audio and it's bass.
That's
So
that's truth. That's it. And we love it
Now,
all.
now I know you said you can't jumpstart a lithium. What about using your car that has a lithium in it to jumpstart somebody else?
Somebody need to buy a limitless lithium battery, then they ain't gotta do that.
Is there? I
I'm
mean, will it?
sorry, Adrian, but your mic went in and out, and I couldn't hear what you said.
No,
Uh-oh.
what I was saying is I know not to jump like my lithium battery, right? But what if I use my
Uh,
car to give somebody else a jump? Will that cause any damage to the battery?
that is a good question. Although it's not recommended, it
Mhm.
won't hurt the battery,
Okay. Not recommended.
but it would. Yeah, it would be best to have the vehicle running if you do so, because all it's going to do is burst the amperage to that battery, and it's
Oh,
going to try and feed it basically,
okay.
and it'll start fairly quickly.
Okay. Now let me ask
But
you this.
if you have $1,000 battery, you don't want to risk damaging it.
Right, right. Makes sense. Now, I got another quick question here. So what is the warranty on all of the limitless batteries? Are they different for different batteries? Like the warranty?
No, every battery comes with a 1 year defect warranty, and if
Mm-hmm.
the battery's registered on our website with your order ID number and where you
Mm-hmm.
purchased it from, it has a 3 year manufacturer defect warranty.
Okay. Okay, that's
And
awesome.
that's every single battery, down to the nano HDs and all the other batteries we offer.
Okay. All right. Adrian, you got any more questions for Robert?
No, I don't. I mean, I will say I definitely appreciate all that information because for me, I've been running lithium for 2 years now. I've gotten a lot of questions that I couldn't answer. Now, if I get the same questions, I can say go talk to Robert.
That's what
Well,
I would do.
I never claim to be the most knowledgeable person, and I usually tell everybody if I can't answer the question, I know somebody who can.
Right.
But
Right.
when it comes down to it, I would rather someone call the shop and ask me a couple of questions than to risk damaging their product
Mhm.
or themselves.
Right. Makes sense because those batteries are dangerous.
Oh, one other question I had, Robert, was I know a bunch of other brands do. Some brands do, some brands don't. Then again, a lot of companies are phasing out of this. But does Limitless offer sponsorships for people, right? Who are heavy in the game, well known in the game, um, so forth.
This thing's going crazy now.
Got it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. But I was asking, does Limitless offer sponsorships or partial sponsorships? Oh, we
Oh,
lost them.
hold on. I think he's having audio issues. Sorry, give him a second. He might pop back in there. He's having audio issues. Oh, he's gone. All right, but we really appreciate Robert coming. Hopefully he'll pop back in and
Yeah.
we can get him back on here. But we're gonna have Robert on here again. We're gonna do some lithium 101. So you guys stay tuned for that date when he's available. We're gonna bring him back on so that he can tell you guys. Oh, here he is. Let me bring him back on. There he is. There he is. So you guys for that date when he's back.
Hey, can you
But
hear me now?
yeah, yeah. But we're gonna bring Robert back again. This is not gonna be the last time, or the first and the last. We're gonna have Robert on again, guys, and he's gonna tell us about the lithium 101s. So, but you know, that's where we are with that. But now, Robert, is it anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, the phone's breaking in and out. I guess my service is bad. My
That's
Wi-Fi is something. But no, I'm pretty much caught up with everything that I had. I wanted to debut with the Cyber 12K V2 being the 45 amp hour
okay.
upgrade.
Okay, that's the Cyber
We now
12K.
have that.
Is that the V2 one, Robert? Is that the
Yes,
new?
that's the V2.
Okay, that's the new one.
Yes, yep, yep, that's the new one.
Okay.
What's
That's
the
the
price point
45
on
amp
that
hour
one?
version.
Show us the next batteries.
Retail price on the Cyber 12K V2 is 1239.
Okay, we have a question. Are any of your batteries safe under the hood?
Okay, so
Here we go.
with that question being here, the Retro Pro 56 and then the Retro Pro 30 will be your underhood safe options.
Okay, those are the underhood batteries. Okay.
Yep,
Y'all
And do
take a
those
look
have
at
temp
and these
control in
have
them?
the thermal paste. They have a thermal paste that will protect the cells from the temperatures of being underhood. But like I said, there's no temperature control internally because that would be built into a BMS. And like I
Gotcha.
okay.
said, the BMS will only allow so much current to be flown to and from the battery. So
Okay.
the battery itself has a balance board inside of it, but there is no BMS or anything like that.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Now
And then
let
we
me
have
ask you this.
the Retro
I,
30.
okay, this one is what is this? This is a small one, right? And what's the name of this battery? The Retro 35? What is that number on that battery, Robert? Okay, I think we're having some audio issues. We can't, Robert, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Now we
I can
can.
hear you, Robert. Yeah.
Now we can. All right. Okay. Well, since you're having
Okay.
audio issues right at the end, it's okay. So tell everybody how they can get in touch with you guys to be able to, to be able to ask about your batteries and to purchase your batteries.
Hold on, my Wi-Fi is connecting now.
Okay. All right.
What was that last question? Sorry about that.
Okay. You want to tell them how they can get in touch with you guys, the website and or whatever, in case they want to buy a battery or talk to you about Limitless Lithium?
Yeah. The website, of course, is www.limitlesslithium.com. And our phone number, contact information is on the website. The office number is 706-400-0797. I talk to a ton of customers every day. I have no problem picking up the phone, answering any question you have. And if I can't answer the question, I'll get with Matt or Chris and we'll come up with a solution.
All right. That's awesome. And Robert, we appreciate you coming on tonight. It's what, 9 o'clock? A little after 9. We try to not go too far in. But thank you for being a guest on the Clean Car Audio Zone.
No problem.
And we're going to have you back for that Lithium 101 little class thing that you're going to give us.
Sounds
I
good.
think
Thank y'all
I
so much
think
for
we should
having me.
do the 101 before car audio season picks back up, because there's going to be a lot of people that's rebuilding and getting ready for next season.
Yeah, well, me and Robert will get together and all of us, we'll get the date whenever Robert is available. We'll get it set up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, Robert, you have a good night.
All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have.
Uh-oh.
Bye bye.
Oh, okay. All right, guys.